Shabbat Shalom from Temple Concord. This week our Torah portion is Ki Tetzei, and within it there's a fascinating set of rules. They're the rules of how we fight during war. Our tradition teaches us that there's an ethical way to wage war, that even though we're at war with the other side, it doesn't mean that we can't behave at least with some level of value. And it's part of what made the summer's difficulties in Israel so challenging, because our tradition says that if you fight a war, you have to do this way, and you have to warn, and you have to not take advantage of the innocent bystanders, the women, the children, so on and so forth. And this summer, when Israel was fighting Hamas, Hamas was doing just the opposite. They were purposely placing their launchers in places that should have been protected: hospitals, schools, shelters. And Israel would routinely get attacked for hitting those shelters when they would respond to where the missile was shot from, and would usually respond by saying, look, that's where they were shooting from. And in fact, Hamas ultimately acknowledged that, in fact, they were using those shelters to try and make Israel look worse in the international community. The challenge is for us that what Israel was doing as a country, its political moves, were intrinsically based on the values of Torah and tradition. And so we as Jews were left with this really interesting challenge. How do we defend Israel when they're trying to use the values of Torah that we share, even though we might not agree with the political moves that they were making? And the answer is, look, in all things, try to be ethical. We hope that Israel and her forces tried to be ethical in war. We trust that they did the best they could. Were they perfect? I'm sure not. Did they make mistakes? I would assume the answer has to be yes. But we have to at least hope that they tried to follow the standards that our Torah presents. And when we live, we do the same thing. We know that none of us is perfect. We all make mistakes. In a few weeks, when we join together for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we're going to say the words, we're all sinners, and they're all true, those words. We've all made mistakes. The answer is, do we have a set of values that pull us back, that we agree upon, that helps center us and bring us back to where we need to be? I think our tradition does that, and I think Israel tried to do that. Whether they did so artfully or not can be debated. But I think just as we try to do that each week, Israel tries to do the same thing. Shabbat services this Friday evening will be at 7:30. We're back to having the first Friday late service. We have a Tat Shabbat program at 6 o'clock. I hope you can join us, especially with the little ones at 6. Shabbat morning, we'll be celebrating the Bar Mitzvah of Aaron Thompson at 11, preceded, of course, by text study at 10, and text study at 9, and Torah study at 10. On Sunday morning, our religious school begins. There'll be lots of excitement with the new year and our great teachers. And during the coming week, all the sorts of programs in the temple start kicking up, and we get back into high gear. And in just a couple of weeks, Rosh Hashanah is around the corner, and then Yom Kippur, and then we're really off into celebrating the new year. For now, though, I wish you a Shabbat that is centered on core values. A Shabbat that is filled with celebrating those things that we all agree upon, the things that make our lives more whole and more perfect, even though we know that we ourselves are imperfect. I hope that you have a wonderful Shabbat. Look forward to seeing you in the temple. Shabbat Shalom.